everyone. Welcome to Strictly Baseball. I'm Jacob Brown, joined here with Steve Cashin. It's opening day. We're finally here. I can care about baseball again, except not too great of a start for me as a Yankee fan. Still repping them, though. I'm not one of those fans that'll throw my hat on the ground and step on it every time the Yankees lose. But they opening day today. Not the best loss in the world. They have plenty of chances. But today, to celebrate opening day, I guess we're going to finish our previews. I know we've been pairing them with top 10 lists, but we're going to save center field, right field, starting pitcher, relief pitcher, and we're going to do those next pod next week. So we're just going to stick AL and NL East previews this week, and then we're going to give our playoff predictions as well. So let's kick this off in the NL East with the, going into last season at least, the defending World Series champion Washington Nationals. They were 26-34 last year. Who'd they add? They added Kyle Schwarber, Josh Bell, Brad Hand, John Lester, and Jeremy Jeffress. But who did they lose? Adam Eaton, Anibal Sanchez, Sean Doolittle, Michael Taylor, Kurt Suzuki, Asdrubal Cabrera, Eric Thames, and Howie Kendrick retired. So, Steve, how about let's just go through this lineup here. You can go through the lineup.
Yeah. So starting off for the Washington Nationals, we got center fielder Victor Robles, batting second, playing right field Juan Soto, the 22-year-old who's catching the league by storm. That guy is that's my pick for MVP this year. I think he's really going to have a great. This will be his third year now in the league. I would consider it almost his second year in the league because last year was such a short season. It was such a fallacy for a lot of guys. Batting third, shortstop Trey Turner, the 27-year-old. Batting fourth, DH Kyle Schwarber. Batting fifth, first baseman Josh Bell. Batting sixth, second baseman Starlin Castro. And batting seventh, catcher Yan Gomes. And batting eighth, third baseman Carter Kieboom. And I would say batting ninth, but no universal DH this year. So MLB still hasn't worked that out yet. There were some rumors that they were going to get that done, but I like this. I like this Washington Nationals, this lineup. I like what they did. They added Kyle Schwarber, some pop to that lineup. An offense last year that was kind of stagnant. I think they did a good job with staying afloat. They were competitive all year. You know, coming off the World Series, did we think they were going to do what they did again? I think they kind of let some people down in some regards, but you lost third baseman
Rendon.
Rendon to the Angels. So there was a step back there, and it was going to happen. There was no way around it. But I think they did a good job with what they lost, and I think now it's regroup with season to bounce back, and I think they're gonna come back nicely this year for a lot of for their fan base and for MLB fans in general.
Well, I remember us last year. I mean, we both had them going to the World Series again, or right around there. So we thought there would be a step back, but I guess we didn't because we had them going to the World Series. But yeah, I mean, just not a lot went right last year. Yes, it's 2 months, but they didn't have Strasburg. Corbin took a step back. Scherzer's not who or you know what? I'm going to hold my judgment on Scherzer. 12 game starts, and you're talking about a bad stretch with a 3.46 FIP. I'm not going to say Scherzer's not who he used to be. Still striking out 12 per nine. But who knows? Maybe he's lost a little bit of his touch. His walks per nine went up, home run rate, ERA, all that. But the lineup, I think what's really going to matter for them, they need some rebound performances because Soto and Turner are going to produce. And by the way, I don't care if it's 47 games, 20, whatever. Juan Soto had a 490 on base. I've never heard of something like that. That's like Barry Bonds, 351 average, 201 weighted run created plus. 100 is the league average, and every number you go up is a percentage more. So he's 101% better than major league average according to that stat. It's insane. He steals bases. He's good defensively. Now moving to right field, we'll see if that stays the case. But yeah, they need rebounds from Kyle Schwarber and Josh Bell, two guys getting changes of scenery. And when they're on, I mean, just look at their 2019s. Kyle Schwarber in 2019, 38 bombs, 92 ribbies. Josh Bell, 37 home runs, 116 RBIs. So both guys in pretty similar situations. But if you can get them going, you're talking about four bats, Soto, Turner, Schwarber, Bell, that could really produce for you. And, if Corbin comes back, he's the same guy. Strasburg, you've got a big three in the rotation. They signed Brad Hand out of the bullpen. You're right. I mean, I think they're going to take a step up for, this year.
Yeah, and we talked about all the time is 2020 was that the year, to really take a step back. That was the one season you could afford to really kind of experiment and be like, okay, I think we all had the expectation in a 60-game season that this team was going to be built for that kind of season. And you think, okay, they'll jump out of the gate. Even if they struggle a little bit, they'll still find a way to win 30, 35 games. And unfortunately, they came up short. I think in terms of it, you look at it, the pitching really was the reason why they couldn't get it going. Strasburg not being available, Scherzer not being the best he was in terms of, you look at it comparing to the World Series run, I think he's still dominant enough to be one of the better pitchers to reckon with. Like you said, we're going to pump the brakes a little bit on that, see what happens early in this season. But this Nationals team, you look at Schwarber and Bell, like you said, two guys that are looking for new environments. If you can get those guys going 1 through 5, that's a lineup to really watch out for. But there's two pieces there in Bell and Schwarber that you still aren't quite confident yet to say they're solidified, but still guys that have proven they can do it at the highest level. And you're looking at Juan Soto in the second spot, only 22 years old. The guy his presence in the box. It's unreal for how young he is. It seems like the guy's been in the league for 10 years. He has a great eye. He fouls pitches off. He has such a good eye of what's coming out of the pitcher's hand. It seems like you can't get much by him. So, and if you're pitching, you cannot serve anything up to that guy because he will take you deep and he'll make you pay. And for the Nationals, you got a great one there. And if he can keep doing what he's doing, he's on track for a Hall of Fame type career. But it's way early. But I like what he's done so far in his young career.
No, I mean he's probably better than Harper. I mean, if he continues this, he's better than Harper ever was for them. Obviously, he had that MVP season, but I mean, you can't explain these numbers. I mean, this is literally Barry Bonds level type stuff. At such a young age, and it's going to be so fun to watch over the next number of years. So let's move on here to and actually, do you have any comments on the rotation, bullpen, anything like that?
Yeah, no, I think we kind of touched over it. I think it's a team that's still set. You look at 1 through 4, you added John Lester in the 4 spot. I don't know how much Lester has left in the tank. They signed him to a 1-year deal, correct? It was 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're seeing what he has left. I think 1 through 3, you're solid. Scherzer, I think, will have a bounce back year. He had a 3.7 ERA last year, 12.3 Ks per 9, and 3.46 FIP. So you look at it, Scherzer still has that ace stuff at the 1 spot. Then you look at Corbin, who, he had a great year the year before. I think he kind of caught people by surprise. I think if he can find his stuff again, he's got everything you need. Throwing from the left-handed side, he's got the tools. He's got good movement, good secondary stuff. Really pumps the strike zone. So I think he'll find his way again. And then you look at Steven Strasburg. He's got overwhelming stuff as well. Like him and Scherzer are almost the same pitcher.
Yeah.
They really try to strike guys out. They have a good presence of the strike zone as well. So you add John Lester in the mix. For the left-handed side, you're mixing lefty-righty. So I like what they have there. Enough stuff to get it back to the postseason. I think this team has everything you need, and in the bullpen too, they're strong enough on the backside to get the job done.
Absolutely, and they also have one prospect in the top 100, number 99, right-handed pitcher Cade Cavalli. He's 22 years old, 6'4". He won't be up this year, but that's one of their prospects. But yeah, pitching, again, Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin. If those 3 click, you get 4 bats going in the lineup with contributions from other guys. This could be a little wild card team, little run here. I don't think they win the division, but they'll be a wild card team or in contention for it for sure. So let's move on to the New York Mets. And before we actually talk about their team, we have to talk about the Frankie Lindor extension, 10 years, $341 million. And, listen, Frankie Lindor, great player. I tweeted it out. And, Twitter, I
The
haven't gotten as
dogs.
much hate as I thought, but, it's kind of hard to condense your thoughts into one little character amount. Here's the thing. I think he's fantastic. He's a great player. He makes big plays. He's clutch. He can hit home runs. He's got a Gold Glove elite level defense. He's a switch hitter. He's young, just entering his prime. He's 27 this season. He's not worth $341 million, period. And you look at the advanced stats, 2020, you could wipe it away, whatever. 2019, full year, 114 weighted run created plus. That's nowhere near any of these not even close. He's kind of around the average guys. I mean, Pete Alonso in 2019, what were his stats? Better year than Lindor's ever had. Manny Machado got $300 million. He was an MVP at one point. He's had way better season, not even close. Bryce Harper, way better, got less money. So you can keep going down the list. Lindor's not at the level of these guys. He's getting paid more than them. Stanton too. Stanton's an MVP, and Lindor's never had a Stanton type season.
Yeah, and you're hitting it right in the head. All these players that you're naming off have done it consistently. That they've proven their worth in the league, and like no doubt about it, Francisco Lindor is a great player. I like what he does out there at shortstop, and at the plate he has some great things. But $340 million, that's a big ticket to sign if you're in a huge commitment if you're the Mets. And I think the biggest thing I saw on Twitter was people were going, it's a little quick. They jumped the gun a little bit. I think if he has a great year this year and proved it 162 games, boom, you have your coming out party again, and you showing you're the guy, MVP type guy. Then we'll start discussing of this contract extension and that big ticket number. And I was really surprised that he was asking for that much money to start, because that's Mike Trout, Christian Yelich. That's those type of guys' money. Now, do I think any baseball player is worth that money? I don't think so. But owners, GMs, they're able to afford it. Like you said, the advanced stats just aren't quite there for me. And looking back at his 2020, he batted 258, 8 homers, 27 RBIs. 2019, 143 games, 32 jacks, 74 RBIs. You would like those RBIs to be up in the 100 range, because you look at guys like Yelich, Trout, even Judge, Stan, the guys that are doing it on a consistent basis, they're racking in 100 RBIs, and that's where you want to be at the elite level. Pete Alonso having 100 RBIs, Juan Soto, you go down the list. The arguments there. I'm not the one scratching the check off, but if he was the one coming to me, I'd be like, you're nuts, dude. I remember you sending a text to me and Adiel, CJ. You were like, is Lindor high? Like, what is he asking for here? Like, It's just, I don't know. It's crazy. Good for him though. He's locked up 10 years, $340 million. That's life changing. So hopefully he can live up to the hype of what the money says. When someone gets paid like that, you're doing it for what the money says, and you're worth it. So he is worth it. Hopefully it pays off for him. And so you can only go up at this point. So we'll see how it all pans out.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not rooting against him or anything like that. We're just trying to point out, his stats just aren't there. And listen, I think maybe, after I've kind of been thinking about it, maybe part of the reason why he got such a high contract, he's a top 10 jersey seller. People get his jerseys, especially with Lindor moving to the Mets. You need to get the new Lindor jersey if you're just a Lindor fan, and that's big, because it's about, what am I worth? If you're signing a contract that much, I guarantee you his agent was in there saying, do you know how much merch he's going to sell you? He's going to be the face of your franchise, bigger star presence wise than even Pete Alonso. It's going to be him and DeGrom leading New York against Judge and all those guys in Yankee Stadium. It's also marketing too. So that's a big part of it. And that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and how many times do you have a shortstop that you can lock down for that long? You look at it, even New York is not quite set on what they want to do in the shortstop position. Glaber, is the future if you look at it, but I think he's still got
Hey,
some
well,
growing to
he
do.
made two plays today
In terms of that.
Yeah, sorry, Glaber made
Yeah,
two plays today where you're like, I don't know if he's a shortstop. I don't think
exactly.
Yeah.
And we talked about that when we were calling the game last weekend at FAU. We were talking about like who would the future of the Yankees and kind of like what's going on there. You know, there's some plays where he's kind of lollygagging and he doesn't make the plays sometimes, and then he goes out and he looks like an all-star the next night. So you look at Lindor. It's a great point. It's good marketing. Hey, you have a shortstop locked up for 10 years. Not many teams can do that. That's a position that seems to keep kind of it's a rotating door. So yeah, it's hey, it's gonna be Lindor, Pete Alonso, DeGrom. They're gonna be the guys that are gonna go take the charge. Those are our three guys that are gonna go face off against the Yankees for the next, the foreseeable future. And that's kind of what the direction they're headed. They've got a good core, and now it's get it done. Can the Mets get to the World Series and get it done? Because that's now the expectation you're laying down is you sign a superstar like that. All right, now build around that key cornerstone and see where that takes you.
Right. I completely agree. And also just to clarify as well, Lindor's highest weighted run created plus ever is 132. So that's still not superstar level. That was 3 years ago now. I just want to throw that in there. But and you know what? The shortstop market free agency wise, Corey Seager's probably the happiest person on planet Earth right now. Javi Baez is thinking, hey, if I have a bounce back season, who knows? I mean, listen, Corey Seager won a World Series. He was World Series MVP. He can make, I mean, who knows what he can make now?
And that's what's scary about this
Yeah.
precedent that's being set is I get it. Some of these guys are worth that money. Trout, Yelich, those guys are superstars at what they do, and they perform at the highest level, can do amazing things. But now you're setting a precedent for guys that if you have one good year, for example, let's use a Rays analogy. Willie Adames, he has one great year. Let's say he goes off and has 40 home runs and 120 RBIs, which is something crazy. Now, what do you think he's going to be asking for? He's going to be asking for around $200 million for one good year. And you made a great point. Corey Seager, great year, World Series champ. He does it again this year. Let's say they go to the World Series and ultimately if they win it, lose, whatever happens. What is he going to be asking for? That's $400 million that you can just 300 to start and now work your way up or down. So it's just a scary thing to think about when you're looking to sign, and then it creeps into 8 teams can only sign this guy. So, which it is what it is. It's how baseball is, the culture has been, but that's where the direction you're headed now with all these guys signing massive deals.
No, it's another thing too that I was thinking. It's like, well, the Dodgers have kind of been hinting at the fact that they probably can't pay Seager. Well, where else is he going to go? I mean, the Cubs, they're trying to shed payroll. Yankees, I mean, they could probably afford Seager, but you have to pay Stanton and Judge and Cole and Chapman and whoever the fuck else, so I don't know where he could even go. So it's like, okay, you might be asking for it, but you might end up, in fucking Seattle if they have one big contract to give out and they're like, fine, here you go. Play with your brother for the next 5 years or something like that. But that's what I see. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the market goes. But now as we look at Lindor's Mets, because they're Lindor's Mets for the next decade. And by the way, I saw something funny too. By the time Lindor's deal is done, the Mets will still be paying Bobby Bonilla. Oh, did the Rays just score?
Yes. Finally, solo home run, Meadows. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Meadows, big bounce back candidate, I'm telling you.
God, we need it. Sucked in the postseason.
Fucking playing the Marlins. The Mets will still be paying Bobby Bonilla when Lindor's contract is over.
That's crazy. That every year I will see like go off. It's like it's a Bobby Bonilla day. It's he's getting paid. It's genius. Imagine getting a payday like that every year. A team still pays you for like 20. It's unheard of. That's unreal. That's a crazy stat.
No, it really is. It really is. So other than Lindor, they added Carlos Carrasco in the same trade. They signed Trevor May, bullpen pitcher from the Twins. They got James McCann from the White Sox to be their new catcher. You know this guy, Aaron Loop, now part of the Mets bullpen. Taijuan Walker, starting pitcher over with the Mets. Joey Lucchesi, Kevin Pillar. Going to delete Jose Martinez. I don't think he made the team. Jonathan VR. Jonathan VR as well with the Mets, and Albert Almora Jr. And then who did they lose? Ahmed Rosario and Andres Jimenez, part of that Lindor trade. They're gone. Wilson Ramos out the door. Steven Matz, Todd Frazier, Justin Wilson, Jake Marisnick, Michael Wacha, Yoenis Cespedes finally out the door. Jed Lowry. Of course, he goes to the Mets for 3 years, does nothing, and wins the starting job with Oakland, going back there for like the 5th time. And Rick Porcello gone as well. And then Robbie Cano suspended for the year. A fucking bum, Robbie Cano.
Classic.
Yeah, I know. Fucking 2 times with the PDD. Did I just say PDDs? PED. Yeah. So Steve, go over this lineup here. We got it out here.
Yeah, no, I really like what the Mets have. This is going to be. It's really hard for me to gauge where the Mets are going to be because it's the Mets. It seems like every year they're one of those teams that just finds a way to royally like screw things up. But you look at 1 through 9, you have Nimmo leading off, who I like a lot. Francisco Lindor, big ticket man. Can he perform? He's getting paid the big bucks now. Now you got to really go back to 2019 form, 30 homers around. I would say I'm predicting this is my stat line for Lindor this year. I think he hits around 30 homers again, but I think he gets the RBIs up to around 94, 95. So I think he'll bring in around 20 to 30 more RBIs. Conforto, he was consistent last year.
Monster year, by the way, by Conforto.
Yeah, he was really good for them last year. Pete Alonso took a little bit of a step back, if you want to call it that, in a shortened season, 16 homers, 35 RBIs, excuse me. Monster 2019 year, like we all witnessed that. That was something to really that was a fun storyline throughout the season. Then you look at Dom Smith at left field, Jeff McNeil, who we are high on. I really love his approach to the plate. Can hit for power, get on base. He can do it all for the Mets. JD Davis and James McCann catching behind the dish. So really strong lineup. I think they can really give the Braves a push going in this NL East division. It's going to be tight, tighter than people think. But I think they're a playoff team no matter what. This is one of the stronger divisions, I think, this year. If the Nats can bounce back, I still have the Braves winning it. I think they're just really strong up front. Acuna, Albies, they got Ozuna back. I think Darno's still there behind the dish, and they had the pitching. But the Mets can they can give them a run for their money. I think they have a good enough offensive talent to give them a push. But I look at their rotation. That's what really kind of doesn't hurt you. But Syndergaard injured right now. Carrasco, he's hurt. DeGrom, he's going to be there. He's going to be your horse no matter what. But then I look at Stroman, Peterson, your 3-hole, Taijuan Walker, and Lucchesi in the 5th spot. T1, my bad. Taijuan. Jesus Christ. Somebody watched this and fucking grill my shit. I just said that. Taiwan. I just read the T1.
My God.
Oh my God. And then
Taijuan Walker, Steve. There we go.
And Joey Lucchesi in the 5th hole. So they got a good enough staff. If they can get Syndergaard back, I think you're going to be in contention of the division. I don't know how long Syndergaard's out for. Was it Tommy John that happened? Was that the injury?
Yeah, I think him and Severino, they're both coming back mid-season. But Carrasco, he should be back soon. And last year, he had a 2.91 ERA in 12 starts. I'm throwing 19 out because that was the year he had the issues with cancer. Took a few months off. I'm not even going to count that. But 2018, basically, yeah. From 2014 to 18, he never had an ERA higher than 3.6. So this is a guy too, you get him in there, he strikes people out. Also, his lowest strikeouts per 9 of his career was since 2014. His lowest was 9.23 per 9. So he strikes people out, doesn't give up a lot of home runs, under 1 per 9 most of the years. doesn't walk. I mean, so if you can get 4 starters in there, DeGrom, Stroman, Carrasco, Syndergaard, and you figure it out between Walker, Peterson, and Lucchesi. I mean, that's when you say later in the year, rotation could be a strength.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's a lot of upside to this pitching staff. You have help coming back soon and help coming back midseason. And Syndergaard and DeGrom, they've been waiting for those two to be healthy 100% for a year now. So when those two guys are going 1 and 2, you look at a weekend series that you're going. Let's say you're going and playing the Braves, and it's a rubber match. That's what you look for as your strength. Your offense can get the job done day in and day. You can score 5 run offense, but when those two guys are going, if you're the opposing team, you're looking, hey, if we don't hold these guys to 2-3 runs, we're not winning. Because DeGrom, he's the lights out. He can shut the door on you, and you're scoring maybe 1 or 2 runs in that outing. So they really have a strong staff here, and if they can stay healthy, use their pieces to their you got to find everyone's spot. It's early in the season. They'll gel together in terms of bullpen, where guys going to be middle relief and middle to end guy, and who's going to be your closer. So I think they have a lot of things going for them this year, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough to overpower the Braves. But it's something to really watch for, and it's so early. It's opening day today, and it's as much as people want to freak out and say, "Oh, our team lost today," like Yankees fans need to take a step back because there were so many chances for them today.
Yeah,
that team's going to be just fine. And Adiel's funny because he's like, "Oh, he was right. It's game 1. It's game 1 of 162." And I think for the Mets, so if it doesn't start off the way they want to, just relax. It's part of the plan. You'll be just fine. You have enough talent to ride out and make the postseason no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's the same thing with spring training fans, except it's heightened on opening day. Things don't go perfectly on opening day. There's fans out there that'll be ready to give up on their team day 1. It's kind of infuriating, to be honest.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, dude, if Aaron Judge had the game he had today, 1 for 5, misplay in right field, and it was May 13th, nobody would give a shit. Okay, so who cares? It's one game. So yeah, and then the bullpen for the Mets. Edwin Diaz, he's a roller coaster. I mean, this guy can either give up a home run every outing or strike out everyone,
He's one of those guys where he comes in, you're like, oh, Jesus, start praying because it could either be lights out or it could be just a circus show. It's a roller coaster with that guy for sure. And there's points in the season where he figures it out, but he's one of those guys you can't really trust in your bullpen. That's where I look at this Mets team is they have a ton of guys. They have enough guys like that where you're really not 100% confident, 6, so 7, 8, 9. Who are you comfortable with giving the ball in to in the 7th and 8th inning before you get to your closer? So
yeah,
I think that's the one question mark surrounding this staff is your backup and your bullpen. Who's gonna be your guy you can lean on to eat a ton of innings and close the door on guys?
Yeah, I think honestly that's what they signed Trevor May for. I mean, this is a guy in Minnesota, ate up a lot of innings. Not really a closer type, but he's a guy kind of like Chad Green almost, can come in for 2 innings. Sometimes he could be the 8th inning guy, whatever. And then, Seth Lugo injured right now. He's always been effective for them. Aaron Loop, we saw what he did for the Rays in the playoffs. So I think with them, it's just going to be 7th, 8th inning by committee type thing where – based on matchups, whatever. I mean, who knows? Dellin Betances, if he's healthy, who knows? We could be Jurice Familia used to be a closer. So it's just a lot of ifs. And you're right. It's just about who is going to be our 7th, 8th inning guy. That's what they're going to have to figure out. And then in terms of their prospect pool, number 57 prospect in baseball, shortstop Ronnie Mauricio. Unless he switches positions, he's probably gone soon. I mean, they got Lindor for a decade. A catcher, number 58 prospect, Francisco Alvarez. I guess, James McCann, 3-year deal. Alvarez, I'm looking at his age. He's 19, so that's perfect. Let McCann finish out his deal. By then, Alvarez will be ready. And then they have a third base prospect, number 88 prospect, Brett Beatty, left-handed hitter, 21 years old. Give him some time. JD Davis, perfect fill-in the meantime. And the last point I want to make about the Mets, Brandon Nimmo, top 10 center fielder. Lindor, top 10 shortstop. Conforto, I have him in my top 5 right field. And Nimmo, I might even have top 5. Pete Alonso, top 10 first base. Dom Smith, top 5 left field. Jeff McNeil, my number 2 second baseman. JD Davis, at any other position, he might be top 10. Third base, he's borderline. And James McCann is a top 10 catcher. So their entire lineup, they've got top 10 position guys. That's very rare around the big leagues. That to me means playoffs. So let's move on to the Philadelphia Phillies. They added Jose Alvarado, Archie Bradley, Matt Moore, who every time I think about Matt Moore, I interviewed him when I was 15, nicest guy in the world. I was at a charity event. Joe Madden was there. Bautista was a diabetes event. Sam Fold, you know him. He organized the whole thing.
Yep.
They had like fake stadiums up there. It was the wiffle ball tournament, coolest thing. And I've rooted for Matt Moore ever since then. Just a really cool guy, looking at 15-year-old me, and he took the time to, have a little 2-minute conversation. I always appreciate that. He went to Japan last year, and I was listening to a Philly spring training game, and they were saying, yeah, he made that decision himself. He was like, hey, I know if I go out to Japan, I get to pitch once a week. And he wanted that once a week so that his arm could kind of recover, knowing that he has that extra day of rest, extra 2 days of rest. And you got to commend him for that. They brought back Brad Miller, and they added in Chase Anderson, who had a terrible year with Toronto last year. The Phillies lost Adam Morgan, Jay Bruce, Jake Arrieta, Tommy Hunter, Jose Alvarez, Brandon Workman, David Phelps, and David Robertson are all gone. So, Steve, let's preview this lineup.
Hold on one second. I was keeping track of this Padres game. They stick off the Dams in the top of the 5th. They were up 6-1. Now they're trailing 7-6 right now.
Padres are? You went out for a second.
Jeez. Yeah, Padres just are trailing 7-6. They just gave up a 6 spot in the top of the 5th inning.
Rough.
Jeez.
Wow.
Tough. That's the shades of early last year too, though. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
But back to this Phillies lineup. They're playing right now. They are tied with the Braves, I believe. It's 2-2 in the bottom of the ninth, so they have a chance to walk it off here. But Phillies, I think they're going to be a team that I think they stick around. I think they fight until the end. I don't see them as a perennial playoff team this year, but I think they have enough talent to do it, to stay afloat, stay in that wild card hunt. You look at McCutchen batting first, Real Muto staying put. He had nowhere else to go. I think the James McCann deal really kind of sealed his fate there for him. So there was really no other option but to stay in Philly. Bryce Harper batting in the 3-hole. Rhys Hoskins, Alec Boehm, Didi Gregorius, who I like a ton on the left side of the plate, Juan Segura, and Adam Hazley. So they've got a decent enough lineup. I really like what they can do. I think it's a lineup that's it can be hot or cold. They have stretches where they light it up. I think that Bryce Harper is kind of the catalyst to that lineup. You look at when he's hot, I think the rest of the team kind of feeds off that. And then when he's streaking, him, McCutchen, I think they kind of click in the same kind of realm. But it's a lineup that is young. Harper and McCutchen are the real, I think, veterans of that lineup. And then even
Harper is 28.
Yeah, and so you look at Hoskins too. He's had a good run here so far in his early career. Gregorius, I like him a lot with the Yankees. He really does it all. He plays good in the field, can hit for power, gets on base. So they've got some upside here. I don't think it's an overwhelming lineup. There's definitely some holes there where you can maneuver that lineup a little bit, but it's definitely not. It's better than most. So they're going to be competitive, and I think they stay right around 500 all year. And then if you can make that late push after the All-Star game, you'll be in great shape.
Yeah, and I think the one guy to look at, the X factor, is Alec Boehm, going to turn 25 in August. And I mean, this guy, in the minor leagues, not even mentioning the 44 games in the big leagues where he hit 338, 4 homers, 23 RBIs, 400 on base as a rookie. But in the minor leagues, in only 63 games in Double-A in 2019, 14 bombs and 42 RBIs. So this is a guy that they've been waiting for. And he's 6'5", 225 pounds. This is a guy by the end of the year, he can end up being a top 10 third baseman, and it's a deep position. So, seriously, if McCutchen through Didi start to hit, that's 6 really reliable hitters. But I'm with you. I don't think they have enough surrounding that. I mean, you look at their rotation, Nola and Wheeler, pretty solid, right? I mean, Nola, 2019, 3.87 ERA. Last year rebounded back to 3.28 with 12 strikeouts per 9. Zach Wheeler, 2.92 ERA last year. Year before that, ERA of almost 4. I mean, I was vocal last year about him being overpaid. I don't think he's a true number 2. If he does what he did last year, he is. But, he doesn't even strike out 7 guys per 9. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs, but strikeouts are pretty low for a guy that throws mid-90s. And, Zach Eflin, not a guy that scares you. Matt Moore, I like the guy, but, he has not been Matt Moore in a very long time. So, what is he going to give you? And Chase Anderson, too. This guy had a really bad year with them last year. So I think a saving grace for them, they have Spencer Howard, who he's the number 28 prospect in baseball. If he comes up, right-handed pitcher at some point this year to fill in, I feel like he has to at some point. Maybe you get something going there, but their bullpen isn't too hot either. They sign Archie Bradley. They bring in Alvarado from the Rays. They still don't scare me. Hector Neris, Brandon Kinsler. It's good, but it's not great. So pitching staff's going to struggle, and I feel like trade deadline time, they're going to have to make some trades. But the question is, who do you even trade? Because their prospect pool, you're not going to trade Howard to get a pitcher. That doesn't even make sense. They have one shortstop prospect at 82, and then another pitching prospect at 84. So really, you don't even have guys to give away to go get a pitcher. So I feel like this year they're going to be pretty stagnant. And if this is the team that they have, they need everything to go right.
Yeah, that's why I say, like, if you're around 500 for this team, that's perfect, because it's a staff and it's a team that's really, it doesn't really catch your eye. It's a lot of, it needs a team that needs to have a lot go right. It's kind of like, I don't know what to even compare it to. It's kind of like Tampa, same way. It's like everything needs to go right if you want to make a run, because the hitting's either got to take the wheel or the pitching's got to come out of nowhere. And there's just not a whole lot of superstar who's going to take the wheel. Like, it's just a lot of things. I think it's the offense got to drive the bus for the Phillies, because the pitching staff it's all right. I mean, you look at Nola, Wheeler, Eflin. I mean, I think Zach Wheeler is your best guy that you have. Then you have Matt Moore and Chase Anderson 4 or 5. So it's not a bad staff. It's not a bad rotation, but I think you're going to need some help. I think later in the year, add another guy in the 4 spot if you're going to want to have any aspiration to make a push for the postseason. Because Matt Moore, I don't know if that's your 4 spot. I think you're not in trouble, but it's nothing spectacular,
Right. And, I would say too, I think Nola's probably better than Wheeler by a little bit, but I mean, they need guys to click either way. So we'll see what happens with the Phillies. It's Joe Girardi too. I mean, I point it out every time. I always think that he manages a really good game, gets the most out of his rosters. So, I mean, he made the playoffs with the 2015 Yankees, and they weren't that great. So, I mean, we'll see what we'll see what happens. So the Miami Marlins, we're only doing them at this point because I'm doing it in order of how they finished in the standings. If I had a say in it, I'd be doing them first because they're going to be last place again. Just got to be blunt about it. I mean, they were 31-29. That's cute, but they don't have anything. I mean, I'm not really wowed by anything they have. Corey Dickerson, 32 years old, not a lot of power, might hit 300, might hit 270. Defense is okay. Starling Marte past his prime. Aguilar up and down. Adam Duvall was a bench player for Atlanta. Brian Anderson, Marlins fans love this guy because he's the best young player they've had in a long time, but he's really not that great. Miguel Rojas, 32 years old. Meh. Jazz Chisholm, number 61 MLB prospect. By the way, he's got blue hair. I don't know if you saw that.
Jesus.
Yeah, I
I didn't
don't
see that.
really get the
No.
look, but I don't know what his minor league stat. I don't know how he's the 61st best prospect in baseball because he hit 204 in 89 AA games in 2019. It came with 18 bombs, but I don't like the 204. And then in 20 big league games, he hit 161. And then Jorge Alfaro, you're not going to get much. Seems like a bust at catcher. Used to be the Phillies prospect. And then rotation wise, I like that. Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, Eliza Hernandez, Sixto Sanchez for some reason starting in the minors because of service time. Um, and then Garrett Cooper on offense as well. He's a platoon guy. Doesn't scare you a lot, even though he had good stats last year. But, rotation, it's going to be nice to see them develop. But, I mean, for a rebuilding team to have this many 30-year-olds in their lineup, I don't know. I just don't. They're going to be last place. I mean, they've got a nice prospect pool. JJ Bleday, outfielder number 24 prospect. Jesus Sanchez, number 76 outfield prospect. But I don't know. It's just a meh team.
Yeah, no. I mean, great for them, not just discounting them for what they did last year, making the postseason, and it was a spectacular run. You played the hand you were dealt, and I think that was 2020 for a lot of these ball clubs. And um, one second, but yeah, no, I just think they're a team in a 162 type format. They're going to get eaten alive by this division. I think they're good. They're good enough. They're to win games and stay competitive. Now, by no means do I think they're going to be bad. I think they're a team that's on the right. They're in the right direction. They're on the come up. They have, I think, rotation wise, that's your strongest your point there. That's where you want to be. That's your bright spot of your future. You have Sandy is your ace right now. He had a great game today. Then you have Pablo Lopez as your second spot, and then Hernandez at 3, who I haven't really seen a whole lot of. I don't watch a ton of Marlins baseball. But then you have Trevor Rogers, 23-year-old lefty. Lot to work with there. A 6.1 ERA, 12.5 Ks per nine in 2020. I don't know how many starts he had, but Sixto Sanchez as well, number 19 MLB prospect. Just that guy can pump heat too. So this rotation is the strong suit of this team. And then you look at the offense. You have enough pieces there. Corey Dickerson, who's done it for a while. Starling Marte, Aguilar, Adam Duvall, who I thought was a great signing from Atlanta. Brian Anderson at third base, Rojas, Chisholm, and Alfaro at the catching position. So they have pieces to do it, but I just don't think completely as a team they'll be able to stick with a team like the Braves or the Mets in a full scope of a season. Could be wrong. They could prove us all wrong. It's all hearsay right now, but looking at it on paper, I think they're going to get eaten alive by just the grinds of this season. And I think a lot of teams are going to see this because last year you had the luxury of being able to pitch bullpens by committee and pitch by committee and being like, okay, well, it's a sprint to the finish. Whatever happens, happens. And now you're seeing a ton of guys from last year get hurt, arm injuries. Look at Yates, Nick Anderson for the Rays. Guys are blowing their arms up because they pitched so much last year because they could. They had the luxury of going, hey, we're going to go balls to the wall, go to the postseason, and we're going to try to win a World Series. Now you're paying the price for it come, real season, long term. It's going to hurt teams. And I think the Marlins are going to be victim of that just because they're so young and they're kind of in that rebuilding, get competitive phase again. So we'll see. Time will only tell.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you on this. I mean, they just don't have enough. Going into at the very least, going into series, you can be confident about who you're throwing out there on the mound, and from a game to game basis, I guess from that standpoint, you could say, okay, that's nice. That they signed Anthony Bass for the bullpen. They brought in Dylan Floro from the Dodgers, John Curtis from the Rays. Again, you're right. They're going to get eaten alive by the long term here.
John Curtis.
Yeah.
God damn it, dude. I hate that guy. Good luck. Have fun with that, guys.
Yeah. All CJ was happy about John Curtis too. I remember you liking that one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, let's move on to a good team. The Atlanta Braves, they were 35-25, almost made the World Series. They lost Nick Markakis to retirement. Mark Melancon went to the Padres, Darren O'Day to the Yankees. Somehow Shane Green is still unsigned. Adam Duvall with the Marlins, Charlie Culberson left, Tyler Flowers left, Cole Hamels left, and Mike Fultonevich went to Texas. But they re-signed Marcell Ozuna. They brought in Charlie Morton from the Rays, and they brought in Drew Smyly from San Francisco as well. So, Steve, let's go over this lineup.
All righty. So for the Atlanta Braves, let me get this lineup up here real quick. So batting first and playing right field, Ronald Acuna Jr. Batting second, playing second base, Ozzie Albies. Batting third, first baseman, best first baseman in baseball, Freddie Freeman. Batting fourth, playing left field, Marcell Ozuna. Batting fifth, playing catcher, Travis d'Arnaud. Batting sixth, playing shortstop, Dansby Swanson. Batting seventh, third baseman, Austin Riley. And batting eighth, center fielder, Christian Pache. And so this Atlanta Braves, I like this lineup a ton. I think there's a ton of firepower, a lot of young talent. It's the opposite of what the Miami Marlins have. You go from top to the bottom, 30-year-olds that have been there. You look at d'Arnaud, 32 years old. You look at Ozuna, 30 years old, and then you have a mix of young talent. Freddie Freeman, 31, going on 32 this year. But then you look at guys like Acuna, Albies, go down, Dansby Swanson, guys that are in their mid-20s, in the prime of their career. You have I think this Braves team has everything you need to win a World Series. That's my pick for the World Series this year. Spoiler alert for everyone, whoever's listening, that's my pick of the year. But they have it all. They have young talent. They have veteran leadership in Freddie Freeman, in Travis d'Arnaud, and Charlie Morton to your pitching staff. You're going to get Soroka back. You have Max Fried, who pitched today, did a really nice job. Gave up 2 runs early, but bounced back, settled into the game. But this Braves team's complete. I think they're the most complete team in the National League. They're going to be a team that's going to be fun to watch.
Most complete team in the NL. What about the Dodgers?
Oh, sorry. Completely forgot about the Dodgers. Never mind. Scratch that. That one of the most complete teams in the NL. I think the Dodgers are the pedestal. They're the golden child of the MLB right now. Then you look at the Braves, a close second. Padres, like I said, they still have some things to prove. But the Braves, people forget they were 1 game away from going to the World Series. They were up 3-1 in the series, lost 2 really close games, and then you go to Game 7, and then anything happens after that. We all know Game 7s are it's do or die. Anything can happen. It's 1 game, you throw stats out the window, and the Dodgers got it done. So I think this team's going to be on a mission to get back there. It's one of those things where you get that close, and it's not given to get back to the championship series, but I think they're one of the favorites to get back there and try to finally get to that World Series appearance again. But I really like what they have going for them talent wise. It just cannot translate again. Can they have a short memory and bounce back and ultimately just look forward and go from there? So, but I like what they're going to do. I think they win this division by at least 4 games.
Wow, by at least 4. I mean, they can do it too. And I mean, like you said, mix of vets and young guys, and not just that, but superstar power too. It's not just a mix of guys that do the same thing, but Acuna, Freeman, Ozuna, they had superstar level years last year. So these guys are top of the line. Ozzie Albies, I think he can improve, to say the least. 306 on base last year. Year before, I just think he's a little bit overrated. But if you get a second baseman that hits 25 home runs, almost drives in 90, you're not going to complain. That's what he did in 2019, and he plays. So I don't like to steal from other podcasts, but Trevor Plouffe on Talking Baseball, he brought up a really good point. He's like, if I'm the Braves, I'm going balls out. I'm calling Cleveland, and I'm saying I will give you Austin Riley, the third baseman, somebody else, some pitching prospects. Go get Jose Ramirez from Cleveland, because the Braves have the farm system, and they have Austin Riley, who's a third baseman right now. They could do a little even exchange there. If they do that, their worlds, they really, I mean, that's a lot. What did Audiel just say?
This guy's got me dead, bro.
I swear to God.
It's so
Saw it.
so funny. Oh man.
He just said Austin Meadows is better than Giancarlo Stanton after dogging me about Judge earlier today. I swear. And you know what? He even admitted, I don't watch. He's like, he said in the chat today, I'm going to watch today and I'm not going to turn baseball on until September. I'm not taking him seriously.
He's a troll. He's a troll. He just kind of looks at the news and checks the ESPN stat lines and the storylines, and he goes, "Oh, you know what? Fudge, Aaron Judge is he's not that good." I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, man,
Okay.
let's calm down.
Okay.
But back to what we were talking about. Yeah, no, I think you have something going there. I think whether it's go get a big bullpen guy or go get another bat. I think you to win and beat the Dodgers, I think you need one more bat like that. You hit around the head is get a guy that can really go. Hey, yeah, he's at the plate, kind of like because you look at the Dodgers 1 through 9, at least 1 through 6. You have 6 guys that you think when they get up in the box, you're kind of shaking in your boots. You're like, how am I going to get these guys out? Like Bellinger, Betts, um, who else?
Um, uh,
Turner.
yeah. Muncy, Seager,
Muncy. I mean,
Will Smith. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
there's so many guys. It's like I had to live 6 games of that nightmare. Every time the Rays played them, I was like, how the hell are we going to get these guys out? But yeah, no, the Braves are that close to being that kind of offense. So I think they'll be just fine. I think if you go out trade deadline, look what you have prospect wise. What do you have in the system? What can you give up to Cleveland? Because they'll be sellers. Cleveland's going to be, they're going to sell because I don't think they're going to be, I think they're going to be horrible this year. They're going to take a drop off. Someone asked me today, should I bet on the Indians? I go, don't touch the Indians. The Tigers aren't as bad as you think. Take the Tigers. Tigers beat the Indians 3-2 today. So, yeah, I think Indians will be sellers. I think if you're the Braves, go buy guys at the deadline.
I mean, totally agree. Because what did the Dodgers do? What was the move that pushed them over? Bets. And I think Jose Ramirez could be that same. You get the superstar in to add to the other ones. Who knows what happens. But also want to point out Ian Anderson turning 23 at some point this year, 1.95 ERA and 6 starts last year. In the playoffs, though, 4 starts, 0.96 ERA. I mean, you get Fried, Soroka when he gets back, Morton, Anderson. That's a hell of a 4. I mean, that's a hell of a 4. And then Drew Smiley, I don't know what to make of this because 2019 over 6 ERA. Last year, though, he had a 3.42 ERA. His FIP was at 2.01, which, I mean, San Francisco, their defense isn't that great, big ballpark, which is why I think that FIP is a lot lower. But he had 14 at 0.35 Ks per 9. Where the fuck does that come from Drew Smiley? I really don't even understand that.
That was good. Yeah, I mean, he hadn't had that kind of year, I think, and since he was in Tampa, and he had that kind of numbers where he's a shifty guy in the 5th spot or 4th spot right now. He's a crafty guy. I think if he pitches to contact, pitches to what his strengths are, he can be a guy in the mid 3s, low mid to upper 2s. I mean, at best, but he's got good stuff. I think he's going to pitch to his strengths. Like I said, pitch to contact, not try to strike every going out. He gets himself in trouble when he wants to pinpoint the corners, walks guys, then he gets the big home run. So if Drew Smiley can repeat 2020, then the Braves got someone in the 5th hole role, and he can eat some innings up on a doubleheader or whatnot. And because Soroka's coming back, you got help coming back. Hopefully he stays the same, and hopefully he's the same guy. Mentally you're not thinking about the Achilles or whatever, because he was dominant. I remember he blew that out against the Rays. That was unfortunate, horrible injury. It was a harmless play. He was going to cover first base on a ground ball to first and just ruptured the Achilles. And so hopefully he can get back to where he was, because he's got some dominant stuff. Like he was untouchable beginning of that year. So yeah, the Braves have a hell of a rotation if they can stay healthy. And if Morton, hopefully age, father time doesn't catch up to him too. That's the other thing, is like, can he stay on the course that he was in the last 2 years with the Rays? So other than that, on paper, I think they're one of the best staffs in baseball, top 5, 6. So they got a lot of good things going for them this year.
Absolutely. And one last thing from me, Melanson gone, Green gone out of the bullpen, O'Day gone. I still like their bullpen. Will Smith, Chris Martin, AJ Minter, Luke Jackson. I like those guys. They'll probably get another piece, but they're good there too. So let's move on. And I found this hilarious when I was making the doc the other day, because we do them in order of how the standings were. I did the Orioles first, assuming that they were last place. And then when I was done with all 5 teams, I looked at the standings, type in the records. I'm like, holy shit, I got to switch Boston and do them first because they were last place last year. They were that bad. Made me laugh. Really bad 2020 from Boston. Now they got their boyfriend back and Alex Cora, Mr. Cheater. Hey, let's see how he does. They got their little leader back. Good for you. He made some offhanded joke about he literally said, "Oh, we got these new buzzers that if anyone stands too close, it'll buzz." Like, are you fucking kidding me? You're literally making fun of what you did by putting buzzers on Altuve. That's why he hit the home run in 2017. Get the fuck out of here, Alex Cora. But anyway, so who did they add?
Cheater Redemption Tour.
That made me laugh. So your dad, he picked his World Series and said it's the redemption tour.
Yeah, quick little plug here. Yeah, last night we were talking about baseball, fittingly enough, opening day eve. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll give you my World Series picks like I did last year." He picked the Rays and Reds last year. Got one half right. But he was sitting there, he goes, "I'm gonna give you a pick here. I'm going ALCS Cheater Redemption Tour. It's gonna be Red Sox and Astros." I go, "All right." He goes, "With the Red Sox going to the World Series, playing the Braves, with the Braves they're winning it." I go, "Okay." Do I think the Red Sox can do it? No. But if it happened, it's on record and we got it here. So there's my dad's playoff picks for this year.
It's certainly bold. I mean, if it happens, I will not watch that series, but
yeah, we will turn that thing off.
Yeah, no shot on watching that shit. So who did the Red Sox add? They added a reliever from Japan, Hirokazu Sawamura. I am going to enjoy saying that name. Marlon Gonzalez as well. Garrett Richards, Matt Andriese, Hunter Renfroe, Adam Ottavino, Franchi Cordero, and Ronaldo Hernandez, who got traded twice this offseason. Who'd they lose? I wouldn't even consider this a loss because Pedroia hasn't played in like a long time. But he retired. Andrew Benintendi traded away. Jackie Bradley Jr. Signed with the Brewers. Peraza's gone. Zach Godley, Colin McHugh, and Chris Mazza all gone. So let's look at this lineup. And by the way, they also added Kike Hernandez. I forgot to put that on the list. He's leading off. He's not that good. Red Sox fans are hyped about him. He's really not that good. He's below league average by a lot. He's never really been above league average. 230 hitter, not a lot of power. He's clutch in the playoffs. That's why people know him. He's a culture guy, but not too excited about him turning 30 this year. Alex Verdugo, he's a bright spot. 308 last year, 6 bombs, 126 weighted drunk rated plus. Year before, 342 on base, 114 weighted drunk rated plus. I like him a lot. Young player playing center field. JD Martinez was terrible last year, 77 weighted drunk rated plus. Again, throw it out for the superstars because the year before that, he was the same guy, 36 bombs, 105 ribbies. Xander Bogaerts, I think he's the best shortstop in baseball, 28 years old, 300 hitter with power. He hits doubles. Defense a little shaky, but he's a doubles hitter, on base all the time, hitting with power. Rafael Devers in that 5-hole. Hunter Renfroe, I did not realize how bad he was last year. He hit 156.
He sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks.
Not a good player. Marwin Gonzalez, he is the number one example of the Astros cheating because since he left Houston, he's absolutely sucked. He's in the 7-hole for the Red Sox. Christian Vasquez hitting 8th and catching. And then first base prospect, he's the number 100 prospect in baseball. Bobby Dahlbeck had a good year last year, 400 WOBA in 23 games. So rotation-wise, they're going to get Sale and Rodriguez back at some point, but for right now, not too hot. Evaldi, up and down. Garrett Richards, reclamation project. Martin Perez. Red Sox fans love him because he added a pitch into his arsenal last year that was like 65 miles per hour, and they all love him because of that. He's not that good. Nick Pivetta sucks, and Tanner Houck, bullpen starter. He'll be out of the rotation by the time the other two guys get back. Bullpen, it's cute. You had Adam Ottavino. You have Matt Barnes. Not much else there. fourth place team. This isn't a good team.
Yeah, I'll quickly breeze over what they got. I mean, I think hitting wise, they're really good. I think their offenses can do it. They can score runs, but you look at the pitching. I think the pitching is going to be the demise of them once again. You look at Evoldi, Garrett Richards, Perez. Is it Nick? Is it Pivetta? Pavita?
Yeah, Pavetta.
Pavetta. And so you look at all these guys that no one's under a 4 ERA. You have the fifth hole guy who is Tanner Huck?
Hauk or some, I don't even know.
Hauk? I don't give it. Yeah. 0.53 ERA, but only 3 games started. 2019 in AAA, 3.24 ERA. And AA, he had a 4.25. So you have Chris Sale coming back and you have Rodriguez coming back. So I don't know. You have some help coming, I guess, with Chris Sale, but he hasn't pitched in over a year. So what are you really going to be getting there? I think if you can't pitch, you can't win in this league. And I think right now, looking at it, the Red Sox. I was talking to Shapiro the other day, and he was saying the same thing. He was being real about it. He goes, I sent him my dad's picks, and he was like, I love it, but being real, I don't think we have the pitching to do it. And it's the fact of the matter. You got to be real about it. And they can score runs, but if you don't have the pitching, you can't score 10 runs a night and expect that to continue through 162. So I think, I think you're right. I think they're a fourth place team because you look at top heavy. I think it goes the Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays. You have a potential for three teams in the playoffs. I think the Rays and the Blue Jays can make the wild card and play each other. So this is a very heavy division up top. I think fourth place is the ceiling for this Red Sox team.
Yeah, I completely agree. And their prospect pool not too deep either. No pitching in the prospect pool at all. They have Jeter Downs, infielder, number 40 prospect, and number 71 first baseman Tristan Casas. But they don't even have pitching coming up. I mean, it's pretty brutal, and that's why if they're tanking this year and they're not doing well, they might just have to sell off. They got to get value for some of these guys, and I think that's what's going to have to happen eventually. But now we'll move on to the Baltimore Orioles. We'll quickly breeze over them. They lost Hanser Alberto, Renato Nunez, Alex Cobb, Jose Iglesias. They added Michael Franco, Matt Harvey, Freddie Galvis, and Adam Plutko. Looks like you were about to say something, Steve.
Oh, no, I'm just laughing because it's the Orioles. I'm just like, it's just, I mean, I don't know. They just I don't know. They
what? I got to give it to them. They can hit. I mean, they've got some hitters in there, Mancini coming back from cancer, but I don't know. I don't
know when John Means is your ace. I think he got some issues.
And Matt Harvey is their number 2 in 11 innings last year, 11.57 ERA. The year before that, 12 starts, ERA over 7, and he's your number 2.
I don't know how he's still in the league, for being honest.
I don't get it.
It's unreal.
I think Colin Kaepernick should get a chance over him. It's clearly prejudice against Matt Harvey. So anyway, that lineup: Santander, good year. Ryan Mountcastle, number 90 MLB prospect. I like him a lot, actually. I think he's a really good player. Hit .333 in 35 games with 5 homers, 23 ribbies. Chance Cisco, I don't get what they're doing at catcher. This guy hits 200 and he walks a lot, so his advanced stats look good, but I like Pedro Severino a little bit better, even though his advanced stats are less. But Michael Franco, good year with the Royals. Freddie Galvis, vet at shortstop. Austin Hayes, decent. But I think it's going to come down to Mancini's 29. They should have traded him that season because that year he had 291, 35 bombs, 97 ribbies. They should have traded him right there. Now they got to hope that guy comes back, and it's great seeing him on the field. Great story seeing him come back. But they got to trade him if they're they're going to be down the tubes, so that they got to trade him mid-season somewhere. And then rotation sucks. Prospect pool though, they got some hope there. Number 2, catcher Adley Rutschman. Number 31, right-handed pitcher Grayson Rodriguez. Number 55, outfielder Heston Kjerstad. And number 64, left-handed pitcher DJ Hall. So at least they have some pitching coming on the way. A lot of people are really high on Rutschman, switch hitting catcher. But other than that, they're going to be 5th place. not too much to say. So let's move on to the Toronto Blue Jays. They just beat my Yankees today. They added George Springer, but he's not in the lineup today. He's on the IL. They added Kirby Yates, but he's out for the year. Marcus Semien in the lineup today. He was leading off and playing second base. They added David Phelps, who pitched today, did a nice job. Tyler Chatwood did a nice job today out of the bullpen. And they added Steven Matz as well. Who'd they lose? They lost. What's funny now?
Yankees lose.
Oh, God. Thanks for that, Steve. Christ.
Rays win.
You know
Rays
what?
win.
You go
Rays
over the rest
win.
of their fucking lineup, okay? Give me the Blue Jays lineup.
Rays win. Rays win. 1-0. So yeah, did you go Springer, Marcus Semien, batting third, shortstop Bo Bichette, batting fourth, playing right field, Teoscar Hernandez had a bomb today over off Garrett Cole. Batting fifth, playing first base, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Batting sixth, third baseman Kevin Biggio. Batting seventh, left fielder Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Batting eighth, DHing Rowdy Tellez, and batting ninth, catcher Danny Jansen. So yeah, the Blue Jays, they're really young. I think they're still not a ways away, but I think they're good enough ways away before I can really take them as really dominant power in this division. I think they have ultimate potential to go to the postseason and do some damage. Yes, of course, I think they can, but I want to see it in a full season. You have guys like Bichette, who's 23 years old. Guerrero is 22. Biggio he's 26. So you have a lot of young talent. Teoscar Hernandez, 28 years old. So a lot of guys under 30 years old. Almost everyone in this lineup is under 30 years old. Yeah. So
yeah, and the guy who isn't is fucking Springer. I mean, so you're fine there.
Yeah. So when you get him back, you insert him into this lineup. There's a lot of tools in this lineup that you can do some damage. You can mix and match everywhere you can go, and you saw their versatility today. I think that's going to be a great matchup. I think Rays and Blue Jays, Yankees and Blue Jays. That's going to be it's going to be a fun series to watch because those haven't been competitive really in quite some time. It feels like, but today it was just to recap today's game. I think the Yankees really had a chance to blow that one open. They had, I don't know if you saw the play where LeMahieu grounds it to second base, and I believe it was who was it that made the play?
Semien, probably. It's I remember.
Semien. Yeah, and he makes the diving play. I thought it was getting through. That scores 2.
And then DJ rolled over with runners on later in the game too. I mean, so they that was really a game that the Yankees could have broken open and could have won that game 6-7-1. But nevertheless, I mean, it was a good game. It's a good feel out game for both teams. I think tomorrow you'll see more energy, but this Blue Jays team they got to be taken seriously. I think if you don't take them seriously from the get-go, I think they're going to surprise teams once again. And they have enough talent to get it done. So I think teams really got to take this Blue Jays lineup for real. They can hit. They're young. They're not afraid of anything. That's the key. When you're that young, you got no experience. You don't care. You haven't been in the league that long, so you have nothing to fear. There's no pressure to do a whole lot. So this team is going to do a lot of damage, I think, this year for a lot of teams. Yeah, and I pointed it out to Audiel when he's trying to say the Blue Jays aren't that good, because he doesn't really pay attention to anything. But I mean, they have a top 10 position player at every position except for catcher and first base. And their first baseman's Vlad Jr. lost about 25 pounds. He had a piss missile up the middle today. Swing looks fantastic. Bat speed is it's insane, his bat speed. And I think it got faster with him losing weight. I mean, his single today, I mean, I know it's just a single and it's a base hit up the middle, but when you watch baseball and you see one thing and you go, okay, that's nice. I see what it is. And even him struggling, Vlad Jr., he's still above league average in both of his years. So this is a guy that once he clicks, I mean, he's the son of a Hall of Famer and he's got the same swing. And by the way, I heard his brother, Vlad Jr.'s brother, I forget his name now. He's supposed to be better than Vlad Jr. So they've got this whole generation coming in, but I mean, Yeah, I mean, top 10 at every position, I think. Biggio, if he was a second baseman, he'd be top 5 at second base, but now he's third base. I love this lineup. They're starting Danny Jansen right now, a catcher, but Alejandro Kirk, 22-year-old, he's one of their prospects. They want him to get in there at some point and be the starter by the end of the year. A little bit of a pudgy guy, but he can hit. So, you look at that rotation, Robbie Ray, Nate Pearson are out to start the year. Their rotation's a weakness. Hyunjin Ryu, great start today.
Yep.
He's a guy, doesn't strike out a lot, although he struck out almost 10 per 9 last year. But he doesn't give up home runs. He's a ground ball pitcher, gets guys to roll over. I really like him, mid-30s. But the rest of it is not so great. I mean, Tanner Roark struggled. Robbie Ray, over 6 ERA. Steven Matz struggled. Ross Stripling struggled. Their bullpen without Kirby Yates, who knows? So that's where they're going to struggle for sure, pitching.
Yeah, no, and it sucks because I picked them in the World Series, put money on them to win the World Series. And now I'm looking at it, and I don't know where they're going to have the depth to get it done. Ryu, great out in the day, but can you consistently do that every night? No, it's not going to happen. But you have Rourke, Robbie Ray, and Pearson. You have Steven Matz. So, you look at this rotation, it's our weak spot. I don't know. I think they have enough offense to that can kind of shadow that. And if you can pitch by committee with the bullpen coming in and buying in and going, hey, if we get our bottom side of the rotation, 5 innings, let's get our bullpen 6, 7, 8, 9, piece it together, and our offense take the wheel. So it's just so early in the season. Maybe they get a guy from AAA that can come up and is lights out. Still early, or come deadline time, who can they go buy a pitcher? I think that's what they're going to need. Excuse me, but I think hands down that's their weakness, and I think for the Rays, who lost a couple guys in Morton and Snell, I think they still have a better rotation depth wise than the Toronto Blue Jays. So that's why right now I'd give Tampa the edge. I have the Yankees win the division. Of course, it's a long season. It's a war of attrition. I think Yankees take it, and then it's going to be very close, thin razor margin, I think, between Tampa and Toronto, that second place wild card race.
Oh, sorry about that. I was on mute.
Wait, what?
Okay. Yeah. So we can move on to my Yankees. This is what we look forward to. You're a Rays fan. I'm a Yankee fan. I think, we can kind of tell that if you're watching on YouTube, you could probably guess. But, Yankees added Corey Kluber, Jameson Taillon, Darren O'Day, Justin Wilson, Jay Bruce. Who'd they lose? They lost Masahiro Tanaka, went back to Japan. Jonathan Holder, James Paxton, Tommy Kahnle, Adam Ottavino, all out the door. So their lineup, basically exactly the same as last year. I did their lineup with Voit in it. He'll be back around mid-May. Injury bug already starting for the Yankees. It's certainly disheartening for a guy that was, top 3, top 2 first baseman in baseball last year. Right now, they got Jay Bruce filling in there. Ugly at bats today, to say the least, from Jay Bruce. But looking at the Yankee lineup, you got LeMahieu, then Judge, Aaron Hicks to split up Judge and Stanton. I really like that. From the point, Aaron Hicks walks a lot, but he's going to get pitched to and given fastballs a lot more often because of Stanton being behind him. So I think Hicks, as a switch hitter, nice to bounce off from that, but also to set up the guys lower than him as well. Stanton in the cleanup spot. He didn't look good today at all. Luke Voit in the 5 spot, then Glaber at short, Gio, then Gary Sanchez hit a home run today, looked really good. But let's see it past a month, 2 months. What is he? Because he hit 147, awful year last year. And then Clint Frazier getting that starting spot in left field. Rotation-wise, Garrett Cole, Corey Kluber, Jameson Taillon, Domingo Germán, and Jordan Montgomery. Luis Severino will be back at some point. And then a bullpen of Aroldis Chapman, Chad Green, Darren O'Day, Justin Wilson, Luis Sessa, Jonathan Loaizaga, and Nick Nelson, with Zach Britton coming back in about 2 months after an arm injury. So it's the same story with the Yankees. To me, nothing in the regular season matters. They have to win a World Series.
Yep.
They're where the Dodgers have been. Who gives a shit? I've said it in the chat multiple times. The Yankees are the Dallas Cowboys. If they can't win this year, You're the most popular team in sports. You're the winningest team in sports. But if you're going to keep going out there bragging that you're the New York Yankees, Yankee Twitter account every season releasing these hype videos saying this is the year, it gets old. You got to do it at some point. Put the bow on top and do it. So I love watching regular season baseball. I'm going to have a fun time watching it. I'm not going to let things get to me like today. Aaron Judge going 1 for 5. Who cares? If he hits homers in the postseason, that's where it's at. So that's where, that's the Yankees story. But rotation for me is scary because I'm not confident in Corey Kluber. He hasn't pitched since 2018. Jameson Taillon, same thing. I'm going to be honest about it. You got to be honest. These guys have to stay healthy. And if they're healthy, who are they? Because Jameson Taillon in 2018, he's changed his windup completely. He used to pitch from a windup. Now he's pitching from the stretch with a different arm angle. So who is this guy coming back after injuries? Domingo Germán, suspended last year. Jordan Montgomery. I've never
had
really
his struggles last year.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, you're an outside guy looking in. What do you think about this Yankee team?
Yeah, I mean, I can give some insight. I mean, I'm watching this team. They're in division. They're the team you always keep your eye on. It used to be the Red Sox that were the pedestal for a little bit there when they went on their World Series runs. But yeah, no, I look at this. I mean, hey, you hit it right on the head. It was like me with the Lightning. It was like, hey, the regular season doesn't mean shit. It's waiting around for the postseason. Wait when the real season starts. You can talk all that all you want all year. Do all these hype videos. Blah 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 blah. Win it. Take the championship home, or it doesn't matter. It really. Yeah, it's fun to watch your team throughout the regular season, but now it's time, man. We talked about it the other day, and I said today, I go, Yankees fans need to calm down. It's early. You're gonna lose ball games. It's 162 games. You're not going 162-0, but it's time to get it done. And you have a window that's going to be closing soon. You can't keep everyone happy for so long. You can't judge Stanton. Garrett Cole is going to be his time's going to come and go. It's going to be faster than you think. He has a 4-year window left. And you look at this team, it's deep. Gary said, you look at the 1 through 9 on paper, they should get it done. You have Hicks, Judge, LeMahieu, one of the best hitters in baseball, Stanton, Voit, Glaber, Urshela, Sanchez, Frazier. I mean, that's stacked. You have a ton of depth that can win it night in and night out. The rotation is what scares you a little bit too. And I completely agree. I think no matter how much depth you have, you still need pitching. Garrett Cole is going to be there. Great job today. Yeah, he made a couple mistakes. I think he gave up one. Was it one home run? One or two? It was just one off of Teoscar's bat. But Kluber, Taillon, those two guys, it's not spring training anymore. It's fun for a month where you go, okay, yeah, these guys we have in our rotation. Let's see what we got. Now it's real. Now you have to really see what these two guys are made of. Kluber hasn't pitched in a while. Taillon, same thing. There's some question marks surrounding those two guys. Germán coming off a pretty good hiatus. Or what's he going to be like? Is he going to be the same guy when he left the league for a suspension? If he is, great. And then you have Jordan Montgomery, who had glimpses of great stuff from the left-hand side, has great secondary stuff. And can he piece it together and stay consistent for long enough at the 4-5 spot? We'll see. But you have Severino coming back, correct?
Yeah, mid-season. So
you have him coming back. So if you can just stay the course and get that guy back, and you can get Germán back in shape, get back in game rhythm, and then if Taillon pitches really well and Kluber does his job, then you're in great shape. But there's still some question marks surrounding them. I don't think it's time to panic. It makes you feel uneasy, but they're the Yankees. You have depth. You have a good bullpen. Chad Green looked good today, and he came in 1-pitch double play. I mean, They have enough to get it done, and I think it's staying patient and waiting for postseason because they're going to win games with pure talent, and the money speaks for itself. All those guys are worth it. They can do it. It's just staying patient and just buying into the long season, and you'll be just fine. And I think they win this division pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I mean, me too. It's just, again, about the playoffs. And, I say about Kluber and Taillon, I'm not expecting these guys to come in and be aces or who they used to be.
Yeah.
If they can both be Tanaka from last year, where he can go in and in the playoffs, you can be like, well, if he can give me 6 innings, 3 runs, we're confident in our offense and our bullpen at that point to where we can win a game. Because there's no way Kluber comes back and he's old Kluber. It's not happening. Tyone, 3.20 ERA in 2018 and 32 starts. He's not going to do that again. I keep looking back because the Rangers just started. They're playing Buffalo tonight. But, I don't know. It's just they gotta produce. And, if you get to October, right, and all these guys do click, you have to win the World Series because then you have Cole, Kluber, Tyone, say they're both Tanaka level, and then Sevy. That's 4 guys every night you're confident in with the bullpen. Sky's the limit at that point. So we'll see. It's just, can they be clutch and can they get the job done? And they haven't been able to so far. So we'll see. So let's move on to your team, the Tampa Bay Rays. I was going to use your lineup, but then I saw the opening day lineup and I kind of constructed it around that. So the Rays added Chris Archer. They're bringing him back. I love watching him pitch because he's a homer machine. But Rich Hill also added, 41 years old, Rich Hill. Michael Wacha, Luis Patino, top prospect in baseball, throws 100 miles per hour. Jeffrey Springs and Chris Mazza added as well. They lost Blake Snell, Charlie Morton, Hunter Renfroe, Aaron Loop, John Curtis, Aaron Sledgers, Jose Alvarado, and Nate Lowe are all gone. So their lineup, you can go through it, Steve. This is your team.
Yeah, so batting first, playing first base is Yoshi Tsutsugo. Batting second, playing left field, Austin Meadows. Batting third, playing right field, Randy Arozarena. Batting fourth, playing second base, Brandon Lau. Batting fifth, playing third base, Yandy Diaz. Batting sixth, playing DH, Mike Brasso. Batting seventh, center fielder, as I call him, soft serve cupcake, Kevin Kiermaier. Guys made of glass. Batting eighth, playing shortstop, Willie Adames. And batting ninth, my favorite catcher, Mike Zunino. He sucks. But yeah, this lineup, it's one of those things, man. It's a new year. You've heard me rant about the Tampa Bay Rays a ton. It's just what it is. You kind of have to just accept it. You accept your fate. You have no money. Ownership doesn't want to spend money, but I still love them, and I'll go down with the ship any day of the week. Great season last year. They rode a great high. Went to the World Series. Went the hard way. You played the Yankees in 5. Went to 7 games against Houston. That could have ended either way. The Yankees could have easily taken them out. Houston could have taken them out in 7. So very fortunate enough to witness the run. And unfortunately, you run into some juggernaut Dodgers team, and congrats to them for winning it. They just were so overwhelming. But this Rays team, it's like anything else. It's everything's got to go right for them to ultimately get to where you want to be. The hitting's got to be good enough, and I think for us it's pitching that's going to really drive the bus. And today, perfect example, 1-0 against the Marlins. You're going to have to pitch really well if you're going to want to win 85 to 90 games and clinch that wild card berth. But they have depth. They have enough guys on the bench that can, because I sent you my lineup before we got on, and I had, so my constructed lineup was going to be, I'll rattle it off. It was Randy, Brandon Lau, Meadows, Diaz, Choi, Adames, Kiermaier, Brasso, Zunino. So they can mix and match. You look at the bench, you have Joey Wendell, G-Man, who's out for 3 weeks. You have Mejia, and then you have Marco on the bench. So you can mix and match it. It's just, what's the lineup going to be night in, night out? Can you find consistency from enough guys and get you winning enough games that way? But it's frustrating to watch, but I think they can be competitive and they find a way to win. Kevin Cash does a great job. And no matter what anyone says about that Game 6 decision, flip the page, it's over. Great manager, and he'll find a way to win ball games once again this year.
No, I mean, the Rays lineup, they don't have names that you go, whoa, but they've got guys. I mean, as a Yankee fan watching these games, you're always scared when Meadows comes to the plate. If there's a pitch left over, he's hitting out of the ballpark. He hit a home run today. I'm wiping 20 out the window. This guy's way better than that. Year before, 33 and 89, 380 WOBA, 143 weighted drunk rated plus. Randy, let's see more than 43 games. Adiel can get off my fucking back here saying Randy's better than all of baseball. And by the way, now I got to say it, CJ also said again in the chat, Aaron Judge is severely overrated. watch a baseball game other than the Marlins, CJ, and then come back and talk to me, okay? But anyway, I love Brandon Lau, great player. Yandy Diaz, so underrated. I mean, this guy, 300 hitter, 428 on base in 34 games. Year before, 340 on base in 79 games. He's got a little pop, can play all over the place. Mike Brasso, he scares me. I mean, this is a guy that, destroys the Yankees. And we saw it in the ALDS. Kevin Kiermaier, he's the most overrated player in baseball. He can't hit.
He sucks.
Like he makes Gold Glove plays in center field when he really never does. And then Willie Adames, nice year last year, really respectable, almost a top 10 shortstop. And then, Mike Zunino struggles. I think Francisco Mejia can definitely be the starting catcher at some point. I think anyone could do better than Mike Zunino. I mean, he's pretty pitiful over there, but calls a good game, I guess, maybe. I don't know, but
they always say about our damn catchers, he calls a good game. It's like, I don't care, man. I want when his base is loaded in a clutch situation, I don't need a ground ball double play to end the inning.
Yeah.
But I can go on for days about that guy, but it is what it is. It's part of the flow, and you gotta play what you're dealt, I guess. So
yep. And then that rotation, Glasnow, Yarborough, Chris Archer, Rich Hill, Michael Wacha, Yanni Chirinos. What's the status on Chirinos? Is he coming back?
I haven't heard much. I have to get back to you on that one. Next pod, I'll get an update. But I think they did reinstate him off the IL in spring, so I think he's back on the throwing program. So he should be on pace to be back at some point this year. I'm not 100%, but getting him back would be huge because I really don't know about Rich Hill. There's some question marks surrounding this rotation.
Wacha too. Yeah.
Michael Wacha, I like him. He can come out and throw you some innings, but that's the only thing that really is scary. Is Archer going to bounce back? Rich Hill, Wacha, you have guys like Sean McClanahan from young guy in the bullpen, left-handed. Josh Fleming can be a starter.
Yeah, Shane Boz.
Yeah, and then
and
Honeywell
Patino
Jr.
too.
Yeah, Luis Patino. Yeah, I think he'll find his way into the rotation at some point this year if things don't go as according to plan with Hill or Wacha. So you have help, you have depth. And I was listening to the Yankees broadcast today, and I think it was who's the color guy? It's
they have David Cohn and Paul O'Neill.
No. Did you watch the Yankees broadcast or did you watch the ESPN one?
Oh, ESPN. No,
I think it was Pedro. God, no, was it?
Oh,
he does color for them.
Yeah, Eduardo Perez, maybe.
Eduardo Perez. That's who it was. He was talking about the Rays and the Colorado Rapids. They were like, "Well, is it too premature to count out this Rays team?" And he was saying, "Yeah, like for sure. They have depth. They have pitching that can help them along the way, but it's just a lot of questions, and that's the biggest storyline surrounding this team is the only team that has some continuity and for sure they know what they've got is the Yankees. So it's going to be a fun season to watch. We previewed all these teams, and now we sit back and wait, and this is where the fun stuff begins. Now we can evaluate and really kind of gauge where we're at. So I'm glad that we finally made it. And it's going to be a grind. We'll be shit talking all year long, no matter where the season takes us. But it's going to be fun. Glad we're here and glad we're started.
Absolutely. And I guess it's time. We got to make our playoff predictions. It's the normal 5 teams make it. So I guess I'll go first. American League, Yankees will win the East. White Sox will win the Central. Astros will win the West, as painful as that is to say. I think the Twins will still get a wild card position. See, this is tough. I mean, actually, you know what? Yeah, it's really tough because you have the Twins, the A's, the Rays, and the Blue Jays. Those 4 teams. I think the Blue Jays probably not. Tampa will be right there, but it's really like I don't see Tampa missing the playoffs after they make the World Series, even though they lost 2 starters. So, you know what? Rays, I don't know, because the Twins don't have pitching either. Rays and A's. Rays and A's.
Got it. Yeah. So for the American League, we had the same division winners as of right now. I have the Yankees getting that 1 seed. Astros are going to be the second best division winner, and the the White Sox will be the winner of the Central. So, and then the wild card, I have the Rays coming back. Whether it's the first or second wild card doesn't really matter. But I have them in the first wild card, and then I have Toronto in the second, and then I have the A's on the outside looking in right now. But I don't know. It's just going to really depend. But if I was a betting man, I would say the A's get in there. But just such a long season, I think they have more depth in them. But I really like Toronto's game. I like their offensive potential. So I think I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and I think 3 AL East teams make it into the postseason.
We'll see. I mean, I think the Blue Jays are that team. I think the Twins take a major step back. I think they're deflated after losing so much in the playoffs. They can't even win a series. They're just brutal. And they didn't upgrade their pitching staff. They actually subtracted it. So I don't know. I don't see it from Minnesota, especially when you got the White Sox in there now. And, the Royals are better. Tigers are better. So we'll see how they do, but I don't see them making the playoffs. So NL, I got the Braves winning the NL East, Cubs winning the Central, Dodgers winning the West. Padres obviously is a wild card team. And then again, second wild card spot, what is it going to be? I don't think anyone else from the NL Central makes it. So I think it's going to be between the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals, that whole NL East battling between each other. And then, out of those teams, I think it's going to be the Mets. I think the Mets slide in. I don't think the Phillies have enough. I don't think the Nats have enough. I don't see another team in the NL West that can really match those other teams. So I think it'll be the Mets in that final wild card spot.
That's funny because we had the exact same picks. We have
there you
Braves,
go.
Cubs, Dodgers, and it's only the differentiate, like whatever can separate us will be the seeding. I think the Dodgers are going to be the number 1 seed coming out of the NL, and then it's the Braves at the 2 spot, and the Cubs the third best division winner, and then I have San Diego being the first wild card and the Mets being second. Just because you look at it right now, long season, these are the best teams. I think those are the best 5 teams when you look at it, and I don't see anyone in the East besides you have Atlanta. Then the next best team is the Mets. After that, maybe Philadelphia if they can stay competitive. Then the Central.
The Central is no.
Central is going to be weak. You have the Cardinals. Can they hit? We don't know. Milwaukee. They're just always they're up and down. They could surprise people maybe. And then out west, you have obviously the Dodgers and Padres, 2 top-heavy teams. So the NL, the second wild card though could be wide open. I think it's going to be a ton of competition. I think same with the American League. It's going to be a really good fight for the second wild card. Long season, like I mentioned, once again. But we're here. It's going to be long. It's game 1 of 162. I think you got to sit down, buckle up, and whatever fan base you're a part of, it's a long season. Whatever happens this first week or 2, it's not the end of the world. And I always say it: if you're at 500 around the All-Star break, you're in great shape. If you're 500 or a couple above, the key is staying within 4 games within your division. So it's going to be a grind. It sucks that we don't have 60 games because it's like a sprint to the finish, and it's like every game matters. But it's back to normal baseball, and I love it. Something on every day, and we're here for the ride.
Yes, sir. It's going to be fun. No more. We're done with preview season 2. We're done. So it's all what's happening today. What have you done for me lately? We're back to that time of the year. That's what I like the most. Previews are fun, but I like watching baseball a lot more than that. So, that'll do it for this episode of Strictly Baseball. Like I said, we're going to finish out our top 10s next week. Center field, right field, starting pitcher, and relief pitcher. We're going to do that next week. Yankees and Rays play next week too. So Steve and I will be at each other's throats about a week from today. So we'll see how that goes. And, maybe Aaron Judge is the worst player in baseball, as Adiel seems to think he is, in about a week. We'll see. But that'll do it for this episode of Strictly Baseball. And do you have anything bold to say before the season starts?
I'm not going to venture into my predictions because my AL NL MVP
that was so bad.
They were horrible. They got hurt. They all got hurt, and I think bold prediction. If anything goes off the rails, the Toronto Blue Jays win the American League. That was my pick. I put that in the
Wow.
books. And Chris Archer is going to have a bounce back year. I said that. I sent this to a million people. I put $20 on him to win the American League Cy Young.
Oh, God.
$20 to win $1,000.
Oh, that's worth it.
Crazy stuff. But if he wins it, it's on record. Like I said, it's there, it's official, and any haters can come at me. And yeah, but those are my two bold predictions. That's what I put on my sports book. And yeah, that's that.
Hey, there we go. And you know what? I'll be bold. Gary Sanchez, World Series MVP. All right.
All right, there we go.
All right, yeah. So that'll do it for this one. You can check this out on YouTube, the Strictly Sports Productions YouTube channel. We have all the pods organized into playlists, so you can check them out. All 5 of our podcasts. Strictly Hockey will be back relatively soon. We've taken a few weeks off of that. What did you say?
It's been a minute since we did that.
I know. Yeah, we got to get back on that soon. Strictly Sports. CJ and I just did our NFL free agency breakdown earlier this week. Him and I were sitting in his home theater, had a good time doing that pod. What else? Strictly Yankees. Mark and I, we'll do one soon as well. And then Strictly Rangers, my dad and I will do. Right now they're losing to the fucking Sabres. So, yeah, hopefully they win tonight. And yeah, that'll do it. You can check us out on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Follow us on Twitter at Strictly Sports P, on Facebook and Instagram at Strictly Sports Productions. For Steve Cashin, I'm Jacob Brown. Yankees are going to win the World Series, and we'll be back next week.